think the one I want, two-way text and email, I think I'll have a lot more on than I will, but.
I think the big thing is I haven't looked at a lot of this.
I did test everything. I will tell you today it's going a little slower than it has in the past, and Patrick's aware of it.
Probably just wait right there. Yep. Just be available. Alright, so you were starting out setting our vision. Highlight your able box.
How to turn enrollment team on, then we're going to talk about how to manage that in their enrollment team settings tab. Then we're going to talk about changing up business rules to assign to team or rep. Then we're going to jump to home and show them the toggle between the task lists. Then we're going to show them how to assign it in a lead. And that's our enrollment team functionality.
Alright, someone have headphones on back there? How do we look?
Awesome.
Okay.
Tell Mike to stop thinking news. How did he get front row? In two-way, we're just staying on the home screen until we go show how to view replies in a big group. Drip campaigns, we're going to go between, we're going to spend most of the time in marketing, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about changing business rules and adding a manual drip campaign, and then we're done.
Awesome. You see in the bottom corner, Studio A.
3 minutes. See, my chat was there and then it disappeared. I don't know where it goes.
Can you Slack me the survey?
The audio is echoing really bad. Oh no.
There shouldn't be audio over there right now. I don't know why there's audio over there right now. That's a great question.
Is our audio right? Is our audio over? Can you hear it?
Just make sure you get our audio up.
I guess we have to introduce ourselves today.
Yeah.
Carmen didn't see it.
Ready?
Alright, I'm ready. There you are.
Let me get Slack off my thing here. You said you sent me the survey, right?
Yeah, I did.
What the heck?
Cool.
Did they do something there to take us there?
I slacked you the survey monkey. That's what you asked for, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy. surveymonkey.com/r/CRCP.
Well, yeah, I think we're ready whenever everyone else is.
You want me to start?
Yeah, give us a 3, 2, 1 when you switch over. Make sure you switch YouTube.
Do they know they're
hope they know they're live. It's our studio audience. Sarah, do I need to head in there? You're all just sitting so nicely.
No one's fighting today. That's good.
Yeah. That's okay.
That's good.
That's okay.
People like us.
We're on? Alright. And we're live. Go.
Ryan, we're back!
Yay!
Yay! Hey everyone, I'm Emily from ChildCareCRM, and this is the man with the plan, Ryan Hodges, our COO.
Hello.
We are back today, and we've never been more excited. We're here to unveil some very, very, very big features that our team has been working on. We are going to talk to you today about dynamic drip campaigns, which you guys have asked for a very long time, enrollment team and call center functionality, and two-way text and email. Woo! So Ryan is going to help us navigate the system. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of feedback into how I think it should be used, what our plans were. The goal of today is that you guys dive in with us, you take a look at these features, and you give us the green light. And you say, yes, we are ready, we think these are good to go, give them to me now. Or if you think there's some major changes that have to happen, you can halt us all together and say, you can't move forward until we do this. Right, Ryan?
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, we don't want to do this without having everything just right for you guys. So.
Absolutely.
So,
I was thinking we should probably start with enrollment team and call center functionality.
Okay.
What is an enrollment team? What is a call center? Well, as you guys have grown, and we've grown with you, we've had to kind of modify the system a little bit. An enrollment team is a group of people, or even could just be one person, who sits kind of at a level up at your corporate or your home office. They might manage all of the incoming leads. They might manage the follow-up after the tour. Essentially, anytime you get a new lead in via the web or maybe even a phone, they're going to take that lead, they're going to kind of do the data entry, do the warming up, the nurturing, and then they may hand it to your directors or your center level staff to give that prospective family a tour, show them around, and you can either let the directors take it from there or you can take it back, nurture it. I see enrollment teams nurture even after enrollment or post-withdrawal, so the possibilities are endless. Now we had to add this feature in because what you were doing is kind of essentially giving your enrollment team very, very, very high level access, which was what they needed, but not also what they needed. So we've kind of modified some things so they don't have to dip and dive into centers and back to top level. They can work across all of the locations and really be useful. So Ryan,
I'm going to go back to the right spot first.
Yeah.
First, we got preferences.
If you're wondering whether you might need the enrollment team functionality, always give us a call. We can kind of give you some step-by-step instructions. It's a very hard feature to deploy and then pull back, so really think about it. If you have a very small enrollment team, there might be another solution, but if you're working a call center or you've got a group of people who need to be able to maneuver across locations and within the database, all sorts of places, this is probably the way to do it. To start, you're going to need administrator access. So that means those of you who can see the settings tabs, who can update your business rules, who can get into the preferences, you're going to want to enable this preference within the preferences section in the settings tab. Once that's on, you're live. It's good to go. From there, you have some decisions to make about how you want to use the enrollment team and what tasks you want them to be able to utilize. So within the enrollment team settings, we've given you the option to basically say, okay, you have two different ways to do this. You can say that any lead that comes in the system is going to be processed by the team as a whole. It's kind of first come, first serve. Or you can say I have a specific rep at each location that needs to be kind of point person for these leads. So in your enrollment team settings, you can decide, do I want the rep at the location to be assigned automatically when I bring this lead in, or do I want the enrollment team as a whole and kind of first come, first serve it? Whoever added it. So remember, whoever clicked that green check mark, they would be assigned the lead. From there, below that, we gave you the ability to do merge variables, and if you're not familiar with that term, those are the functions within inside of your email templates that will insert lead first name, location director first name. And we gave you the ability to do that because oftentimes your enrollment team has kind of a general inbox. They have it might be enrollment@luckylearners.com or your enrollment team at Lucky Learners. You don't necessarily want it to say Emily Smith, Ryan Hodges. You want it to give the team as a whole a name, and you can kind of utilize that within your templates, right, Ryan?
That's right. Let's see. I'm gonna just type a few of these in here. Oh man, here we go. Back to bad typing. New studio, still bad typing.
Shake the dust off. Don't call it a comeback. I wanted to play that at the top of the webinar.
All right, there's a few of them right there.
I love the idea of the enrollment team URL because I think, remember, it's just a .com or a whatever you can get to. So even if you want to direct that URL back to a cool enrollment team form or a special packet. I saw at a recent conference somebody had done a landing page that was basically all of their enrollment packet, you know, luckylearners.com/enrollment, and it was all of the PDFs and everything in there. So I think your enrollment team landing page could be that. That's a really neat idea. Your general enrollment team number and extension. So this is the management of the enrollment team. So it's kind of in its own separate settings tab with the intention that this function might have to grow a little bit. We might need another place to manage it. So once that's on, you'll have the enrollment team settings tab.
I gotta get a shot there. Awesome.
I want to show you, if we can jump to the business rules, how you might need to change some things up. Okay, so this, before you dive in, I've always told you guys, if you have not changed your business rules, if you are not very, very comfortable, this is a very good time to raise your hand, send a chat in, and say, somebody walk me through it. It can be a little daunting. But if you roll the enrollment team functionality out, this is also a very good time to put it on paper, get your workflow down, and talk about a perfect world. In a perfect world, when a new lead comes in, I want this to happen, I want this task assigned. It's a good time to revamp it before you roll this out. So in your business rules, if you wanted to say, you know what, initially we had our first phone call assigned to the location director, but we actually think we want that assigned to a team. So if you click that phone call and you hit edit, now you have the ability to say, I want this to go to the enrollment team, or I want it to go to the enrollment rep on that lead. And we are going to show you that. But remember, in that settings tab, you just said, I want pending leads to be processed at my specific representative level, or I want them processed for the first come, first serve method. So this is where you could do that. Even if I first come, first serve it, if the rule says assign the phone call to the rep, we will automatically assign that follow-up to the rep.
That's right.
Right.
Nailed it.
So you can always go enhance current business rules. This is a really good time to add some new creative business rules. If you've got an enrollment team in place, you probably should have a post-enrollment nurture process going or a pre-withdrawal nurture process going. Be thinking about that. I always tell you guys, when you're looking at your business rules, think outside the box. What are you doing manually, and can the system do it for you? Raise your hand, ask. We might be able to come up with a cool way to do it. All right, so beyond the business rules, let's talk about how your enrollment team processes their tasks. So let's jump to the home screen. And your enrollment team logins, they don't have to change. Once we give them access to this enrollment team level, when they log in, now at the tasks, they're going to be able to toggle between my tasks, so the same old things that are assigned to me, available team tasks. What that is basically if we've said this task in that business role should be assigned to the enrollment team and not a specific person, there's going to be a list of tasks here that you can go grab. It doesn't matter who you are, you can grab it, you can follow up on it. Once you do, obviously that's going to be completed by you, assigned to you. So that's what available team tasks is. It's nothing to be alarmed by. It doesn't mean they're not necessarily overdue. It just means anyone can take them. So that's available team tasks. And then you have all enrollment team tasks. So that's going to be any member of your team that's on your enrollment team. You'll see their names in there, what's overdue, what needs to get done. We've basically just enhanced the tasks bar. So now you've got mine, available team tasks, all team tasks, and then you still have, if you have access to this, you still have the ability to see all tasks. So my enrollment team, my directors, my assistant directors, my regional people, that hasn't changed. The only things we've added is open enrollment team tasks and specific individual enrollment team tasks.
One other thing to note on this screen is when we added these two extra pieces here, we noticed that each one, the two original ones, had different column headings, and so we've actually made it the same column headings across each one and enhanced the pop-up to have the same data. So the tabs are consistent across each one as opposed to one being slightly different, which was causing a lot of confusion. So we also standardized the grid here So
it's muscle
consistent.
memory. It always happens to me. It happens here and in reports. If I'm used to going to the right side, I always go to the right side. And I love, just as we've changed these headers, the ability to sort those, the ability to, yeah, I mean.
Well, and you also have the search
and
here.
the advanced search, I think that you could search for all emails, all phone calls, anything assigned to Ryan, anything assigned to Mandy. You can just pull it up. If you're looking for a specific lead, you can look at anything in the future with her, not just the ones that are due in the next 7 days. These are shortcuts that we sometimes don't think about, especially those of you who are going to utilize this enrollment team. You may be longtime users who have, like I said, muscle memory, use the system one way over and over and over again. Explore them, see what the search does. There's also advanced search options up at the top too that have really improved over the years. Okay, so that's how you can toggle between the tasks. Why don't we look inside of a specific lead? If you want, yeah, that's the one. Go to lead.
So one other thing
Yeah.
that we've done here, just to show everybody, is we removed the action column and made the whole things. It used to be when you clicked on it, it did one thing. When you checked the green check, it did another. And a lot of complaint was too much confusion was going on. So now when you click on, doesn't matter where you click, it takes you to the action screen, and then you do have the ability to go to the lead if you want to, or you can complete the task right here. In our case, we're going to go to the lead. There you are.
Yeah, all right, so if you scroll down to the tasks to do, I wanted to kind of show you guys, in that assigned to, here's where I was talking about. Emily Smith, in this case, in this database, is on the enrollment team. She's an enrollment team member, and that task was set to specifically assign to her. Where you see it assigned to enrollment team, that's where you're going to see those available team tasks. That means anybody can grab to it, first come, first serve, right?
Yep.
Within that lead, if you want to edit her file, here's also where you can see. Now, if you've already set up the enrollment team member at your location level and you've assigned that out, this will automatically hit. As soon as you process, it'll process to that enrollment team rep. You can always change it up. If you don't have anybody assigned, it'll still be assigned to system, and then those tasks will fall to the enrollment team, kind of triggering you that you need to assign somebody there. Ryan, tell us the difference between an enrollment rep and a family rep, because I think that may get muddied as we move on.
So we originally were setting up the family rep as the enrollment rep, and then we noticed there were some people wanting to use it as the rep that the family interacts with post enrollment.
Right.
And so there were multiple reps in here, so we decided to go ahead and to add the enrollment team as its own and leave the family rep. The family rep is a much lighter version of tagging responsibility to a lead, independent of the sales process. So if you have a coordinator or somebody that manages the family post-enrollment, you can tag that person as the family rep and the enrollment team managing the onboarding or the sales process.
Cool.
It is a feature set that can be turned on and off independently in enrollment rep. You can think of it as enrollment rep light if you don't want the full functionality. But we kind of we put the piece in and we found a use for it that was different than intended.
Yeah.
And so what we decided to do is just really hone in on that feature set and then expand out the enrollment team.
I like it. Okay. All right, so I think as far as enrollment team, the only other thing I wanted to tell you guys is that you do have an ability, within the enrollment team settings. You guys can decide specific task types that can be assigned back to your enrollment team from location level. So let's say you would never want somebody to accidentally assign the starts today task back to the enrollment team. You can uncheck that. If you would never want a director to be able to give a task back to the enrollment team or assign a new task for the enrollment team, within that settings tab, you guys are going to be able to say, as a location level user, here's what you can give back to your enrollment team and expect us to process, right?
That is correct. Now there's also the ability, if I remember correctly, we don't allow a director to edit an enrollment team task. So if an enrollment team task is automatically added, we don't let the director go in there and add, manipulate, change it. That way it doesn't get messed up.
Right.
So if it's assigned to the enrollment team,
Kind of read only.
it's kind of read only. They can see it in the list, but they can't edit it.
Does that same go for within manage lead? Can a location level person change the enrollment rep in the file, or is that kind of read only too, you think?
That is a great question.
Okay.
We should make note on that one. That is
I love when that happens.
Question. I at the moment I believe it can be tagged to anybody, but that's actually something we should put in.
Okay.
Cannot. Look at that right there. User
Comments
story,
are flying in. I love it.
User story right on the fly, live.
I
User
love
stories
when this
live.
happens.
Yeah.
Comments are flying in. We are going to check all of them. I promise you. We're going to go through this system demonstration. and then we're going to kind of comb through them, answer what we can on the fly, get one-on-one with you. The other thing about this is, like I said, the whole purpose of this is to take your feedback back to our team and say, basically create new stories. Hey guys, they loved it. We'd like to see this added in, or we need this feature to deploy, so that we can modify it so when it gets in your hands, it's ready to go. All right. I don't want to keep anyone else waiting, and I think the Cinderella of this ball might be two-way text and email. So let's talk about two-way text and email so these people can eat lunch if they'd like. All right, so Ryan, tell us the backstory on two-way text and email. Why is it needed? Why have we decided now's the time to do it?
So, just as we all use Gmail, Outlook, our phones, Apple, whatever we use for email, you know, that conversation is very important. And our system right now, when you send the email out, that's great, but where they reply back to, it goes over to your Outlook client or your email client, and then you have no way to get back in the system. So then if I'm the director and you're the assistant director and we don't have the same email account, then we don't know what's going on.
Right.
On the other hand, is then we actually start taking the data out of CRM and start working it outside of the system, which is kind of defeats the purpose of using CRM. And we want CRM to be a single source and make it as quick and as easy to use as possible. So that's why we decided, after many requests and lots of head beating, if you will.
See what happens? I tell you, if you're not seeing action, just put another request in. Sorry, customer success.
So we've added the two-way capabilities. The emails will, when you send an email out of the system, it will come back in if the user replies, and then we do have some routing abilities, business rules, and whatnot behind it.
Okay.
So.
Well, let's take a look at those. I think most people are going to manage two-way text and email from the home screen, and you'll see on that very front page now we've added a tab that's called Communications. That's where you're going to manage your inbound, your outbound. You can always view them with inside the lead. We'll look at that too, but I think most people think about it like your email client. You'll see your unreads at the top and bolded. You'll see the ones that you've already read and may need to reply to kind of down below. So within your toggles, you have My Communications and All Communications. So if you have access to that, you can see other responses or other people's communications too. You also have the same radio ability, not radio ability, but the date range ability, where you can see kind of things that have come in today, things that have come in since yesterday, the last 7 days. If you want to see all of them, go for it. You have the ability to dismiss a message. That is not deleting it. I know that button might look like delete. It just means take it off this list. It's still going to be stored in the leads file. It'll be stored in the group manager if you sent it out of group manager. It just means I don't need to see it on this list anymore.
That's 7 days. There we go. One other thing to note is this drop down for enrollment team. We are adding in My Team and all, just the way the task operates here with the enrollment team functionality. Right. We will be putting that over on this side before we release it.
Okay, cool. So inside of these communications, you'll see when you view that email, well, you'll see the actual email, not any of that shenanigans. You will see the email. You'll see the text
that's
message.
A text. Oops.
Yes,
Let's
it's
go
fine.
to the email.
So within your email, you'll see the content of the email. You have the ability to reply from here. One of my favorite features, and it is related to two-way text and email, but I think it's on a bigger scale, is the Manage Attachments feature. I think when our team did this, they didn't realize what a game changer this one was. They were like, oh, sure, Manage Attachments. Do you guys remember, in the lead file, you have that tab that said Documents, and we gave you the ability to start uploading PDFs, which is cool, but like Ryan was saying, with emails, once you receive an email in your client, once you receive an attachment, you are managing it from there. I know that. So now that you're able to receive emails from here, when a parent sends you back the registration form or a parent sends you back a shot record, you can manage that attachment within the email inside CRM. So you can download it to your computer, of course. You can print it, of course. You can also store it to their documents for later if you want to be able to pull it up at any other time and print it any other time, which I absolutely love. So you have the ability to view, save to documents, or save to computer, which is really cool.
Well, the big one on that one is a lot of people are getting those enrollment forms back, and then you just click save right to the lead.
Yep, I love it.
And I love our developers messing with us here, sending us gibberish things so you and I freak out on live.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm currently
Thanks,
in
guys.
coding school, and I know exactly what that means.
So, yeah, they're over there snickering right now as
They really
to...
are. Just go to the live studio audience. They're probably dying. Like the Michael Jackson gif where he's just eating popcorn.
Thanks, guys.
So you can reply to this email right from here.
Yep.
You have the option when you're in here, just like a normal editor, you can pick any of the templates you've already built out. So if you wanted to start with the signature template, or you need to attach something, you need to CC somebody, you want to delay this delivery because you got to your center at 6 a.m. and you're working, feel free. None of that functionality has changed. You just have the ability to reply in here, and then Ryan, when the parent responds to your reply, it'll look just like a thread, right? You'll see all of the thread below, everything you've done.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else here that you want to add that I might have missed on the email before we talk about replying to text?
No, this is, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It works a lot like the sending email piece. It's just on the chain, again, our jokesters here. I don't think you have, yeah, we'll have to go to a different one. I mean, you just see it just as a thread.
Right.
It's just like you're working in Outlook, except for it's inside CRM. You have your attachments. You have this neat thing to attach it directly to the lead. You can go to the lead, reply to the email, and then, like Gimli said earlier, if you've actioned it, you're done, you can dismiss it from the list.
Right, which it's still stored in the leads file, but I've been done with it. You also, tell me about, Ryan, if I'm managing my communication or all communication, what is the plan, or what's the alert if somebody on my team has responded to that? Do I see it in the thread?
Okay, so what it does, if let's say you and I are simultaneously working on a lead and you manage to beat me and you get the email off, when I go to hit reply, it pops up and says you are not replying to the latest thread. Would you like to acknowledge it? And then so it'll reload so you can see what has been sent, so you can decide, oh, you know, Emily's already done it, I don't need to, or yeah, I'd like to tack on some more information, and you can keep sending.
I love
but
it.
it'll alert you if you are not the newest reply.
I love it. How many times have you overpromised something and your assistant director said something opposite? So now you guys can see what the reply has been before. Okay, two-way text. Let's talk about that before we go anywhere else. Hallelujah, it is here. So when a parent, when you're sending those text messages out, the unable to contact, the tour confirmation, it used to say do not reply to text. Well, you can take that out now. Now they can reply to the text message, and you, just like the email, you'll see an alert that you've got an incoming text message. So Ryan, if you want to click that one, you can reply to it from here. Again, I've seen this one before too. There is also an alert if the parent texts you before you respond. You'll see a pop-up that says, oh, you got a new text, slow down. And you can reply right back to the parent. They'll get it. Comes right back. I will say, what did we add that I thought was awesome? Oh, parents can respond with emojis and GIFs.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
And I'm not gonna lie, an emoji keyboard has been requested.
Yes.
So we can put it in there. I'm not promising it for the first release, but an
I
emoji
need some
keyboard
backup
is
on that,
in.
directors, because our team looked at me like I was crazy when I said we need an emoji keyboard and we need to be able to respond with GIFs. They thought I was nuts, but come on, everyone loves that.
Yeah. The other thing to note, and this is just for text messages in general, we are adding the ability to send images and documents through.
Cool.
They'll come through as MMS, but we can actually send, or working on the ability to send images and small documents through text messages as well.
So those of you who have neglected your text message templates, neglect them no longer. I would go in there and start building them out. Think about what you want them to say. Even quick responses, guys. I think if you want to go into your templates and build some can't wait to see you on your first days, or that sounds awesome, see you then, add some quick responses for your team. That's not a bad way to start. All right, so let's talk about how we send how we interact with two-way communication with inside of the managed groups, because you can also do that. So when you go to the group, the one, what's it called? Where we sent them all, the history.
The history?
Yeah. Okay, so I admit this isn't pretty because this is a demonstration database, so we don't really want to send anything out of it. But if you click into that group send, and this will be the same on your text messages too, you can see all of the replies up at the top, that view replies button. You can see all of the replies from the top, and you can click any of them, and you'll see what the content of it was, what the thread on that was. You can oh, we love them. You can respond to it from there. So when you're sending out a big group email now, of course you'll see the individual replies in those unread messages, but you can also go into the group send and manage all of the replies from that response on here, and I believe it'll be the same for a text message too.
Correct.
Okay. Where else would we interact? Oh, you want to talk about on the lead, where
Yep.
they can find the communication history? Mandy Moore's a good one.
So there's a little bit of update on the lead screen in general, and this
A little bit.
yep, this is a little bit of work in progress still. There's some final tweaks, so definitely provide the feedback, but do know there is a few modifications coming. You'll notice there is the communication tab here now. We are actually moving the past events to this activities tab and enhancing the way it interacts. Because what was happening in the past is a lot of automated business rule emails were going out, and then it was cluttering. The past activities was just full of all of this automated emails. And if you tried to see what a user actually did, it got real messy. So we decided to move it off onto its own tab, and then you do have the ability to say, I want to include, this is where we're cleaning up here, none would infer I don't want to see any communications. I want to see text included in my communications. I want to see email included. And I want to see text and email. So this would include, again, the wording on here is going to be cleaned up, but you would actually see all of the activities, whether it was a tour, an event you added, a phone call completed, email sent, email received, etc., etc. And then we do have the communications tab here, and then we've renamed the history tab, which most people don't use.
Yeah,
as
pop
audit.
quiz. What does the history tab do? Tell us in the section, in the comments.
Yes, so we renamed it to audit. Audit may not be what sticks, and we've also made it a preference to turn it off because it was confusing a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So we decided there's a number of kind of people at corporate or kind of customer service related, I'm vaguerizing here, that would use to dive into a lead to see what was going on, but like 80% of the time no one really used the tab. So now it's an option to be turned off, or it's a permission. Sorry, let me say it that way. It's a user permission.
Okay.
The user sees it, the user doesn't, and then that way we can clean up the screen a little bit. But I think in terms of two-way communication, they are all under here.
Okay.
And so this is all of your emails in and out. You can see the status in and out. You can see your text messages, which apparently sending stuff to Kevin was failing.
Yes.
Carl him apparently. And but we do have all of the communications here listed in both directions.
I do want to tell you guys one thing that even I noticed in this kind of demonstration server is that status where it says sent, received, that will change to the statuses that you guys are all familiar with. Sent, delivered, opened, clicked, bounced, failed. Those will exist. On this test server, there's not a really great way to do it. So just so you know, because that was my first question, was I want to know on two-way who opened and who clicked and which links they were clicking. That will exist once we start sending real data and real emails out of the system. So don't fret.
Yeah, that is the, I wasn't clear about that. That is the actual status.
Right.
So in past activities, it was email sent, parentheses, delivered, open, clicked. That's what goes there.
Cool. So right now you're just seeing sent, but I promise you in your live data it will say open, clicked, bounced, all of that cool stuff, and you'll still get your alerts for bounces and fails, just as normal.
Yep.
What else on two-way text and email? What else do we need to talk about?
I mean, that's it. For the most part, we wanted the home screen to be where you can action everything. We want to make the home screen very intuitive, where you can log in and action what you need to, and then you can dive into the other parts of the system as needed.
Right.
But we wanted the home screen to be very functional. So replying to the emails, what are my tasks, what are my pending leads, and then beyond that, it's over to the lead screen where everything sits, so the communication's in, task, etc. And then you can see the replies back on group communication. I mean, really, we're just adding the inbound capabilities to our existing outbound.
Right. One thing I will remind you guys of, none of this works. No text works as it stands now if you don't have that option within their managed lead. If it's blank, if it says home, if it says work, it's not going to let you send. And I've told all of you guys, go into your pick list settings, which are in the settings tab. We'll show you how to get there. Go in there and just make cell the default. I would pay good money that no parent is really giving you a landline at this point. And even if they are, the worst thing is you're going to get a notification that it failed and it didn't work. Okay, no big deal. go set that default to cell phone so that you can text message and you can do these two-way things, and you'll know really quickly if they did, and follow back up and get their cell phone. What else on two-way? I think that's it. I'm sure we'll have a ton of questions on it, ton of comments in there. My favorite feature, and I know everybody's excited for two-way text and email, but I am really excited for drip campaigns. So let's jump to that.
You jump to that?
Yeah.
Mike just told me he's sad that we didn't show an inbound text with a GIF. So if a parent sends an inbound GIF, picture, anything, it will come through.
Yeah, there's one in there. If you go to home and all.
Oh, will it?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I have to look. So let's go to
Mike, this is just for you. Here's your demo. So all communications
and go to all, and then all text. Where is it?
Did I dismiss it?
Well, go to not last 7 days. Maybe go to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going ahead of things here.
Is there one that says GIF?
Uh-oh. There's just a lot.
All right, there's a lot. I promise you it works because I sent a GIF of Kanye, everyone. To test it. It was the best. Anyhow, you see in there the little GIF. And the emojis and everything. And like I said, we have put in a story to please allow you guys to send cool things out too. So I know that is.
There we go.
There it is. Is it Kanye?
There you go, Mike. There's your picture inbound. So.
You're welcome, everyone. Everybody tell Ryan and Mike and the rest of the development team how much you love that and that you would have been so mad if it didn't exist.
All right, drip campaigns.
Drip campaign. So let's talk about what a drip campaign is. So a drip campaign, most of you are, if you're using drips, you're building them out in your business rules. So what you were doing is basically saying, here is my pre-tour drip campaign. Anytime somebody's at this status, I want to send out this email on day 2, this one on day 3, 4, 5, 7, and it's just a series of emails and text messages that are going off. And it was kind of clogging up your business rules, and if you incorrectly set that business rule up, it was really messing you guys up. So we've given you now the ability to create these drip campaigns, these really cool promotional niche campaigns outside of your business rules. They can include text, they can include email, they can include action, they can fire off business rules, they can stop business rules. So basically what we want you to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, is keep your business rules, the task-based things, the phone calls, the reviews, the starts today, the one-on-one, person-to-person interaction should be your business rules, your workflow. Take your emails and your communications and move them to drip campaigns, unless it's the tour confirmation or kind of a one-off. But the long promotional threads or the nurture threads, let's move them to drip campaigns because you can do so much more with them, right?
That's it. Yeah, okay. We want the business rules to stay to the kind of user interactions, right. Like I said, the phone calls, the tours, etc. And if you want them to fire off a manual email or a very particular one or right. reminders and stuff like that, but your drip campaigns are going to be, I mean, people were trying to do drip campaigns in business rules before, and it was messy, and you had to, it'd fire up like 15 emails, and you had to go cancel, or if you want to change the timing on it, it was just messy. So you don't want to do any automated emails or text in business rules because this is
right.
what it's for.
And I'll tell you what a lot of you guys were doing is we added that functionality for a second condition business rule, which kind of blew my mind and scared me to death. But what you guys were doing is you were saying, okay, I'm going to create this business rule condition that says when lead equals new lead and age group equals infant, send all these emails. But what you weren't thinking through is now you have no new lead business rule for anybody else except infants, and that's only going to fire off when you've got an infant in there. So we're trying to take away the messiness of that and make it more clear and concise. So now you're going to manage your drip campaigns within the marketing tab. Now, just a reminder, as we build these out, you need to have these templates already in existence. You cannot create the template on the fly. So step 1 is go through your email templates and either identify which of them are drip campaigns or create new templates to meet these campaigns, because you cannot create templates within the creator or the wizard or whatever we're calling it. Once you do it, we won't create one on the fly. I'll kind of show you how we did it, but you're going to hit that add campaign button. For time's sake, we'll pretend it's like a cooking show. We can go to another one, or you can make it on the fly if you'd like.
Just click through this. Let's do this as a test. It's very obvious it's a test. All right, what do you want? Do you want a countdown?
Yeah,
or?
okay, so here's the one that I think is going to need the most explanation for those of you using drip campaigns and training other people. Explain to me the difference between a countdown campaign and a fixed campaign.
So a fixed campaign is, let's say from today, I want an email to go out in 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, very set times, kind of business rule like. That is a non-countdown. A countdown is, I want to send a series of emails from the time the child starts, from then until now.
Okay.
So you're counting down from that future date.
Okay.
Or maybe it's their age out date, or, I mean, I think we're...
Wait, start again. Say that again into the mic and louder. You're counting backwards from a date?
Counting backwards from a date, like expected start date. When the child starts, we want to proportionally send emails from then, or from now till then. Is that right?
CS, go
Count
close 115 tickets. What he's saying is that thing that you guys have all asked for, hey, can I go backwards if they start on May 15th? Can I send emails leading up to May 15th? And we would always say, no, because business rules trigger forward. So when an action happens, something happens. But now we're saying with drip campaigns, you can say before this date.
So like this one, I want to count down from the child's expected start date. Because the child's expected start date is not always 6 days from now, it can be anywhere from tomorrow to, 6 months.
Right. Holy moly. So what are my options in the countdown option? I've got expected start date. I think I have date of birth, right? So if I wanted to do a new mom campaign or something, what else is in there?
Yeah, this list needs to be cleaned up a little bit because I don't think it makes sense from the child added date. You don't want to really go backwards from that one, but you could go forward on that one. So we're going to put a little bit of logic in here to make that one here. But the two big ones from the countdown are age out, date of birth, and start date.
Yeah.
And then that's what we've got so far, and then we're evaluating other dates in the system. And you do also have lead dates, and then we will be adding task dates. So if you want to say
until starts today or until transition or something.
So
okay,
like
so big news is that the function exists, that we can go backwards now.
Right. And if you want to do a drip campaign from the tour,
right,
you can do that too.
Okay. Oh, before the tour is what you're saying. Okay, I'm with us now. So what you're saying is if I have a tour scheduled for a month from now, or an open house scheduled for a month from now, and I want to drip information until that open house, now I can do that instead of creating some silly little task that I complete just in order to fire something.
Right.
Genius. Genius. I love it. Okay. All right, so that's the difference between a countdown and a fixed. So the fixed is the traditional day 3, 5, 10, 12, 31, the things that we're used to. The countdown is the cooler one. So let's do a countdown. So then you're going to say, here's how many drips are in it. And remember, this is dependent on how many templates you have. So do not say you want 7 drips if you're not prepared to stick 7 templates in. So let's go with 3. That's easy.
And just to make it easy, we've hard set it to 10.
Okay.
That's just because stereotypically in a drip, there's between 5 and 7 max. We gave you up to 10.
Right.
If you're trying to do more than 10, you're probably bombarding them with too many emails, or they're going to exit out 2 or 3 emails in and be firing off to another drip, which we'll show you how a drip campaign can trigger another drip campaign. But it is hard set to 10 per campaign.
It's like an inception.
Yes.
A drip campaign within a drip campaign within a business rule.
You can do it.
The description, again, it's not on any reporting, just notes that you would need to remember, hey, here's when I did it, here's why I did it, here's maybe the goal. We've talked a lot about goal setting recently, so maybe what our goal or our outcome for this is. I like that idea. Throw your SWOT analysis in on it.
All right, here we go.
All right, so we did the countdown drip. So what's next? We're going to name this drip. Again, no one sees that except you, so just give it something that you would remember. Yep. First drip, kickoff drip, check-in drip, whatever.
Yep, this is just to name this individual drip. You can see up here we got our progress bar at the top, and then when we're in our build drip section, this is the progress to each drip in. So each drip is set up on its own, and you can see it's going to walk us through each one. We've got 3 there, so we got 3 to do.
All right, so percentage into the campaign. What is the best practice, Ryan, on deciding this? I know obviously we go 25, 50, 75, 100, but how do I decide if I want it 33%? Is that something that I can even do, or are we typically looking at, if we have 3 drips, we're going to go 0, 50, 100?
So the slider lets you really pick anywhere. And this goes back to user group. I believe last year, thank you, Carmen,
We love you, Carmen!
for taking all the feedback on that one. We still are going to leave the percentages in on the backside.
Okay.
But the way this interface is actually about to change, and this is in development in the next sprint, is we're going to do countdown to, it'll be something over here on the side. It'll say, it'll say now right here, and it'll say like the end date here. So it would say expected start date.
Okay.
And you would just move the slider, and the closer you get over here, that would be you're sending it on the start date. Here would be that far away. And because you're building a drip campaign, you don't know when each lead is going to do what.
Right. So
all this is this is the anticipation point is I want an email to go out here, I want an email to go out here, 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 etc. So the closer you move this to the slider, the closer to the date. The system will automatically calculate the percentage and pre-populate out. So if there's, in this case, let's say three drips and the start date's 3 days from now. If I do it third, and here, it will send in day 1, day 2, day 3.
Okay.
If that same drip campaign is set up over 6 days with the same settings, it would do it at day 2, or well, today, day 2, and day 6.
Okay. All right, and remember, if you guys have a fixed date range in mind, you know you want them to kick off, then you want to go back to the fixed option and not do the percentage into the campaign or the countdown.
Which let me go back over here real quick. Error reporting is not going to let me go back. All right, here we go. So if I go no, duration is 1 day. Then this is just
1 day.
length.
Got it.
1 day.
Okay.
So if you do have fixed, and the drip campaign, I mean, it will be explicit. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. But if you want to count down, you have to kind of have that slider, and you just say, I want it to go roughly this far away from the future date.
Yeah. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I don't see people doing 32%, but I think you guys get the gist of it, and you'll know. And those of you, here is another thing I want to tell you about drip campaigns. Can my location level assistant director create a drip campaign?
No.
No. These are intentionally a high functioning feature set within the system. So we want people who know how to use it, who are dangerous enough to break it, to be the ones using it, right?
That's right.
We've intentionally put it up at corporate level. Franchise owners will be at your level as well. However, your location level people, even your regional level people, they'll be able to interact and send and queue, but just like your business rules, we do not want them creating a drip campaign. We want them to be able to kick it off after you've decided and determined how that drip campaign should look, right?
That's right.
That's intentional. Okay.
Yeah, just be clear. A director or location level user, they can fire a drip campaign off.
Right.
They just can't build one.
Create it or edit it.
Right.
Right.
And they can, interact with it, like they can trigger it by a business rule. There's the ability to manually fire it off. So they have ways to use it, they just can't build it because
Okay.
you want to control that.
I agree.
You don't want just things going all over the place. That'd just be chaos.
100%.
All right. So here we are at our 33% on our first one. What do you want to send? Let's pick your first template.
Let's do a pre-tour template.
All right, let's see. Pre-tour, which one? 1, 2, 3?
Let's go 1, 2, 3, yeah.
Okay.
In that order.
All
All
right.
right, so the actions, tell me about these, Ryan. So when we send pre-tour drip 1, we can create actions that happen based on the parent's interaction.
Correct.
With that template, right? Okay. So what we've always said to you, or what I've said to you guys in the past, is the problem with business rules is that they go like this, just in one line. And your parent's interaction goes like this, right? It dips and dives with inside those business rules. And you've never really had a way to course correct or change direction based on whether the parent opened your email or clicked your email or downloaded anything. You've never been able to do that. Now within drip campaigns, you can say, okay, CRM, I want this email to go off. And if the parent does this, start something else. So in this situation, if the email is opened, I can decide I want something else to happen. I want to trigger a new business rule. I want to kick off a new drip campaign. That's what Ryan was saying, is the idea that you would have 10 drips in a campaign and then nothing else would trigger, maybe indicative to like a marketing list that you purchased. If you went out and got the entire school district list, maybe that would happen. But the people that you're using these drip campaigns are probably going to interact with your email. They're going to open it. They're going to unsubscribe. They're going to call you back. So they're going to need to leave the campaign and go to a different one, right? So that's what the actions are built for.
That is correct. Well, and like a perfect example would be, let's see a new web lead comes in, and you have a drip campaign that's the 8 reasons why you should come take a tour. Well, once they interact with the email, or maybe they click it and they liked item number 3, and that was our playground.
Right.
Then you can actually cancel this drip campaign and do a focus that says, here's all the amazing things about our playground and how we use our playground as a learning environment. And so then you can start steering content to the prospective parent ahead of time, which is why you'll never get to that 10.
Right.
And then the other side is, maybe you're trying to get them into tour, once they schedule the tour, then you can, instead of sitting there saying, why you should come into a tour, why you should coming from a tour, like the business rules do, now you're like, I've already scheduled a tour, why are you still sending me emails about it?
So here's what you should know leading up to your tour.
Here's what you should expect on your tour. Here's what you should expect after your tour. Here's what you should be prepared with. So you can, again, you're just giving more targeted, engaged content, which really gives you that relationship feel with the parent. Like the parent can see that you're trying to interact with them on a more personal level, and and you've set the system to help do that.
And I would say all of these features that we're talking about today, the personal level, the way that you're going to up your game here. I mean, think about the way, if you're using Enrollment Team, you've already kicked that off. You have a series of pre-tour templates that are specifically from your Enrollment Team or the Enrollment Team rep. Then they interact with it. Maybe they like something or they schedule a tour. Then the next drip campaign is from the director or the assistant director or the family rep. I mean, just the way that you're able to tailor this communication, I think every one of these features, I think that was the overriding mission here, was to take your personal relationships with these people and just step them up a notch, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right, so beyond, and you can add more than one action. So you can say, if this happens, do this, but you can also say, if the email bounces, do this. If the email is open, do this. So you can take as many directions on this one template and this one piece of the drip as you can. The other thing about drip campaigns is you've got emails, obviously, but you also have text. Text can be part of the drip campaign.
Correct. One thing to be very particular on is you're only allowed 10 drips. You can cross-mix text and emails, but you can't have both on one. So if you wanted to send 3 emails and 3 text, you would select 3 or 6 drips, and you can put them at the same time, but you would only do, you can only pick one communication method per drip, if you will. So in this case, we have email. That's all that can go out. We can make the next one a text, but you can flip between the two. And then you can see here, I basically said, if the email bounces, cancel the drip campaign, because there's no point in trying to, that just increases spam scores, and it just is not useful. If they open the email, in this case I said cancel the drip. If they open the email, start a new drip, and I just selected this one. Because
I love the idea of a text message campaign too, and that one can go longer. You guys ever, you're subscribed to some retailer's list, and once every 30 days I get a text message just about something I might like at that store, and I think making a long-term text campaign, that's really cool. Again, they can opt out, they can unsubscribe, they'll tell you if they're done hearing from you, but I love the idea of a text campaign. Especially go audit your data. There's a lot of files in there that have a phone number, but they might not have an email, so you couldn't utilize these. So having kind of a mirror text and email campaign I think is really neat. All right, so building all of these out, can you scroll to the next option, or we need to build them out so we can show you the stop triggers?
I'll build this out real quick. One thing I want to point out is, if you noticed in this one, I set it at 33, or I set it right here. When you get to the next one, it will not let you go beyond that, because the first drip, you don't want to send it before the first, then your stuff goes out of order.
How intuitive, everyone.
So to ensure, now this is a little bit of a development item, and we'll get this in before the final release, is we'll make sure this is like kind of grayed out and indicates why you can't do that.
Okay.
But just for our demo today, it will not let me go back, and so the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and bump this to 66, and then go next. Here's the last one. See, it won't let me go. So
smart.
See,
Good job, team.
I can't go before 66. So then here we go 100%. We'll say we're going to do an email. Whoop. We're doing our here, and we'll just get to there. So now we're at our stop triggers.
All right, so let's talk about what a stop trigger is. It's the same concept as in your business rules. So do all of these things until this happens, okay? So within your stop triggers, you can do it based on child statuses. You can do it based on lead statuses.
It's only lead and child statuses.
Okay, only lead and child statuses, right?
Yes.
Because the one-on-one interactions are in your business rules. That makes sense.
Right.
Okay, so when child status equals tour scheduled, stop and start something new, right?
Right. Because
Okay.
if the business rules and the interactions are automatically moving them through the process, they should hit a status that would then cancel it out.
Okay.
So there are the interactions are based on the drips. So let me go back to my first drip here. So where you'll cancel out of the drip is if you interact with the drip. The only other interaction would be completing. I mean, I guess we could technically do a task completion, but that might get a little messy.
Right.
So that's why we left it on status,
Okay.
because if your business rules are set right, if you complete a tour, it takes them to tour completed status,
Right.
which would then
Okay.
cancel it out.
Okay.
So
So your
that's-
business rules and your drip campaigns are working together. They're not working against each other. That makes more
Yeah,
sense.
they're a perfect alignment. This is meant to
Right.
be doing all of that communication side of it with text and
Right.
email, and letting business rules, move the lead through the statuses, set up the task of the follow-ups, and then fire off the drip campaigns for you.
I like that because I think what it does is it does not allow those to, like he said, to intersect or cross paths, so that you keep more complicated stop triggers in your business rules and status triggers here in your drip campaigns, because these are only communications, not status related. I like it. Okay.
And then the last page is
Just
just
a
kind of
summary.
the summary of it all, and then it's ready to
It's ready to go.
ready to go.
All right, so before we jump to launching it, tell me about the actions. I know the red action will cancel this drip campaign everywhere it's at, no matter where anybody's at on that campaign, right? So if all of a sudden your 10% off promo ends, or you're gonna do a new one, you can literally just cancel it and everybody who's queued up will stop. Correct?
That's correct. And this is kind of version 1 of this screen. There's a version 2 that's coming that's going to look slightly different than this, but it's just to clean it up a little bit.
Okay.
It's basically this one right here. Does you know if any one of these have data on them?
They don't.
They don't. Okay. So I'll just talk about it real quick. This one is just a graph that shows you who's interacted with it. So were they using Outlook? Were they using webmail? Were they using their phone? So this is so you can see what medium, if you will, they're
It's being
interacting
opened
with
on,
it.
right.
Yep. And then this one here is if you just want, it just plots out if you have links in your emails, it shows you which ones are being actioned,
Like a heat map, right?
like a heat map.
Okay.
And then you're right, this one here, it just kills all instances of the drip campaign. Now, it doesn't stop it from going, it just kills all instances that are pending or that are in queue. If I hit the cancel button now and somebody does something to fire a business rule, it will fire it off again. But that's if you're just kind of hitting the reset button on it.
I see.
And if you're trying to clear everything out,
Okay.
you're going to make a change to it, or you made a change to the way the drip's going to work and you want to clear it out before you fire it off again.
Okay.
And then there's, like I say, there's a few more options, and this interface is changing just a little bit more.
Okay. All right, let's talk about how we fire them. So let's talk about while we're here, let's talk about doing it within a group before you jump to settings. So if I want to send a drip campaign to a large group of people, you can do that pre-K fall promo at the very top. So here's the group of people that you want to interact with, and maybe I built out a kindergarten readiness campaign. So you can just hit next, just like you would have on your group. Now without the one that's been added now is you can start a drip campaign versus sending an email, a text, a task, a mailing label. So you just pick your kindergarten readiness, or this is a test, hit next, and the rest of it follows as normal. Again, with your two-way text and email, you can view all of the replies to these drip campaigns within the group send option. You can review them within the leads file, but now you can say, instead of queuing up email by email, you can build your kindergarten readiness campaign and kick it off to the whole group of people. And manage groups is very, very dynamic, remember. So if you add somebody to that list tomorrow, that campaign should fire off. If you take somebody out, what happens then? It just cancels. The same thing as your lists are dynamic, so they're constantly changing in the manage groups feature.
Yeah. Now, just one thing to be clear. Whenever you fire off the group, it will only fire it once. Like if we fire this off,
Right.
it won't do it automatically, repetitively. Just the leads on and off the list are.
But your leads will keep going, so you
Yeah,
can
the
go
leads.
refire it, take people who've already received it out. Things
Yeah,
like
if you just use this as a bulk way to fire off the campaign,
that. Right.
yeah, it'll work just like you said.
All right, so let's talk about adding drip campaigns to my business rules,
Okay.
since they work side by side. So I've built out my campaigns. You can launch them within the group manager, you can launch them automatically within business rules, and you can launch them manually within a lead. So let's say that every time a new lead comes in that meets these criteria, I want to go ahead and launch my drip campaign. You can do that.
Or test, why not? save.
And again, you have your stop triggers within the drip campaign based on statuses. But if you wanted to be even more, I guess, second level or tier 2, and you wanted to be able to stop based on task or child waitlist type or waitlist reason, this is where you would do it, and it would still cancel that business rule or cancel that drip campaign because the business rule would stop, right?
Right.
All right. So those still exist. They're just, we don't want them two places at the same time.
Well, and this also allows you to be a little bit more dynamic because you may cancel the group differently than you would the
Right.
business rule, and in some cases this allows you to kind of loosen up your business rules because you probably want every lead to have a follow-up task or a beginning task that can be a little more kind of, don't say ambiguous, but a little more global, and then you can have your drip campaigns be very targeted.
Yeah, I just think drip campaigns, I've said it since we started, but I love the other features, do not get me wrong. I just feel like drip campaigns are the game changer. They clean the system up so much, they make it so much more intuitive, they allow you so much more flexibility, especially our franchise users that, you know, you've had these templates up at corporate level. Now you can kind of create your own tailored communication. You don't have to rely on that. So I just think this one is the game changer, and if you use it correctly, it will really step your communication and your relationships up a notch. Again, you really need to think through it, because if you kick it off the wrong way, you're going to have a big mess on your hands. That is why intentionally we've left this up to corporate level administrators, people who know what they're doing and are very comfortable in the system. I still say, give us a call, let us hold your hand the first time you do it.
Yeah.
All right, so how about kicking it off on a lead? This is where directors can interact with it. So once you've built the campaigns out and you've got all the parameters set up, your location level people, your regional directors, your executive directors, they can still kick these campaigns off. So Ryan, show them how they do that.
Just right there on the lead screen, you see this new section here called Drip Campaigns, and we'll fire off our test one here, and give it a second to refresh here.
Does a drip campaign, did we actually save all of the stuff in there? That's funny.
Oh, you know what? Let me actually do your other one. I'll just do this one. There we go.
So once you expand that, within the drip campaign, tell me what the options are. One thing I don't see, and I am happy if this is the case, you cannot edit a drip campaign email like you can a regular one. Yes. Okay, that is good, everybody. Don't get upset. That is good, because remember, you've intentionally put this promo messaging in. You've done all the merge variables you want. These are not meant to be the customizable tour confirmation, tour thank you, and I want you to customize. I really do. A drip campaign is meant to be promotional, static, unchanging. This is the messaging. We don't want somebody going in and saying, hey Ryan, and as a follow-up to this, you just want these messages to go off. So that's why you don't see that edit there. If there's a message that you want edited, it probably doesn't belong in a drip campaign. It belongs in a business rule. Okay?
That's correct. So unique one-off messages you want to do, you keep them in the business rules. One other thing we changed, and this is a back-end piece that we modified, is before, when a business rule would fire off, it would stack the outbound emails with the merged content already. So if you, let's just say for example, you had, this is exaggerant, but 10 emails going off 5 days apart from each other. So that's 50 days.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. But to exaggerate here a little bit. So if you had on the 50th day, the last email would go off. Well, whatever was at the time that business rule fired, that content was already set. Well, let's say on day 20 you modified the business rule, or modified the template, sorry. It wouldn't update it. Versus now, it merges at the time of sending, which means you can edit your template ahead of time, or if you edit it, 10 days into the campaign, you find a typo, or you want to oops something, or you just want to change the content, you like color purple instead of pink, you can edit the template and it won't affect. Now, anybody that's already sent, they got the old version.
Right.
Anybody that sends in the future or from that point on will get the new one.
Right.
So you don't have to go cancel. You just edit the template and it goes.
You know where that was really backfiring on you guys is when you really took the time and you built these really long drip campaigns out, and they would go 6 months, a year into the future. You all have the best intentions that you're going to hang on to those directors or the person that's in that merge variable or in that seat. And what would happen is you'd have emails queued up for a year down the road that had the wrong director's name in it. And we always told you guys you have to cancel it, you need to edit it, it's a pain. But what Ryan's saying now is if you queue a drip campaign that goes for 9 months and all of a sudden you change the enrollment rep, or you change the location director, or you change the date and time of the event that's supposed to be on email 5, it will change all that for you. You don't need to go back to the campaign and edit it and change the template. Is that the same for queued up emails in the future outside of drip campaigns?
That's everything.
Yes.
We're
Awesome.
moving to the time of sending as opposed to the time of generation, which you can see on the screen here. You see where I've got my timed in the future. So because I did third. So what's my expected start date on that particular
8/13.
one? Okay. So then you can see where I did 16, which is now, and then 23rd and 24th. So that is.
I love it. So a location level user can queue a campaign and they can cancel a campaign if they have the privileges to do so.
Correct.
So again, even if you have a location level user that you don't want to be able to cancel a campaign at all, you just take that privilege away from them and then they can't do it, right?
Right.
Okay. All right.
So that way they can see if anybody wants to see what's going on. You can see what's being pending. You can see when it's going on. You can see the status when it's sent. And then also, whenever you come in on the communication side, you will see it when it actually goes, and you can interact with it just like an outbound email.
Okay.
Regular email.
All right. I'm so excited about drip campaigns. Now, what else on drip campaigns do you want to hit on? Because I know one thing I intentionally left off of all of the features is the reporting. You talked a little bit about how we're going to report on drip campaigns. We're going to have some graphical views there for you. The enrollment team, they're going to be included on the typical reports that you run for staff members. Staff usage, completed tasks, scheduled tasks, anything that you could have picked a staff member on, you'll now see enrollment team or enrollment rep in there. So that hasn't changed. On two-way text and email, you're going to see the same concept on the completed events of text sent, email sent, drip campaigns are the same way. What other reporting features should we know about for these?
So there's one particular report, and there's a few more we're coming out that are, trying to identify the success of a campaign. And this one's, I haven't tested this one in the test system yet, so please don't fail me.
He loves when I do this to him.
Oh, please don't fail me. Okay,
Oh,
there's
yay!
stuff in there. Okay, well, not useful, but this one is trying to figure out, it's kind of a drip campaign analysis, and what it is here's the drip campaign, the step of the drip campaign in the email template, and what we can do is we track the movement of a leader or child in between drips. So if we don't definitively know if this first drip is what got them from responsive to tour, just pretend there's numbers in here.
Right.
But we do know that they did between email 1 and email 2 interact. So what you should be able to see is you should see some trends. If one email is, you all of a sudden go, no response, huge response,
Okay.
you can actually kind of see, because we don't know if that particular email is the one that got them to walk in the door or make the phone call. You can always ask and say
Right.
what did it.
But you do know that they did it after that email.
You do know they did it after their email. So this is one to kind of analyze the campaign, and then there's a few other reportings that'll come out, just outbound versus inbound, and
Yeah.
just links clicked, and
Because you've got your delivery report, which you can do on template. You've got your completed events. You've got in the managed groups, the group communication history. I love this one. Like Ryan's saying, you can't definitively say that one email spurred the interaction, but what you can say is, well, after we send email 2, we seem to see a trend that everybody moves to tour scheduled. Or after we send email 1, we seem to see a flat line. We might need to change that. I love that idea. The enrollment team, I know there's already stories out there about specific enrollment team conversion success and statistics. I know all of that is coming. But for now, if you can report on a staff member, you can report on the enrollment team. So you can
Right.
still do tour results, you can still do staff usage, staff sessions, completed tasks, you can see all of those things. And obviously, as we roll these out, just like with the rest of the system, I think when we started the reports tab, there's 3 tabs, 4 reports. I mean, and it just keeps getting bigger. And we do that because of things like this, because you guys give us your feedback. You say, hey, we're trying to do this, and I want you to keep doing that. What I want you to do is look at your processes and say, what am I doing manually? Is there anything the CRM system knows or has and could probably help me with? Because that's where these stories come from, right? We just stare at the system all day. You're in your center day after day. No one has better stories than you guys do. So with that said, there is a survey that you're going to get after this. Ryan's going to put it in the comments. It is surveymonkey.com/r/CRM sneak peek. So it will be in the comments. We are at 1:05, so we did run an hour. Ryan, do you want to run through some questions? Do you want to revisit them after this?
I say we actually have a lot of questions in here. And so I think what we can do is we can see who you are. I think we will probably email them directly, and maybe, I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Wow, the good news is there's a lot in here.
There is. I want to give shout outs. Thank you guys. This was so, we were so excited, and we talked about, like, should we wait a little bit longer? Should we give you guys more time to plan? And you know how Ryan and I are. Like, once we get a new toy, we want to show it to you. So I know you only had a couple days notice, and I will say that everybody that I really, really was hoping to get on this meeting was here. The good news is it's on YouTube, and we're going to do webinars like this going forward. So if you couldn't watch the whole replay, or you want to review before you fill out the survey, it's on there. Go look at it, share it with your team, get other feedback, and tell us what you think with that survey. We'll go through these comments. I think the people I'm seeing, just my opinion, are maybe some of you that we might have specifically designed some of these feature sets around your stories and your requests. I kind of want to have a one-on-one with you.
The other thing too is we've been operating, this is our beta test server.
Yeah.
And so we do want to let a few people in to play with it and give us a lot more feedback.
Raise your hand now.
Yeah, and really what we're looking for is a go or no go for launch. We want to make sure that we've hit the mark, we're in the right direction. We don't want to just deploy this tomorrow and everybody go, that'll be a disaster. So this is the sneak peek. We do have a beta server so people can test. We do want people to get in and test. We do have, I think, a few user guides that we can pass out. There's the video. We're going to do a few more things to show it off a little bit more. Yeah. But what we're looking for is it ready to go? Because we want to do it right the first time.
Is it ready to go, with the understanding that just like every other piece of the system you guys have learned over the years, we keep iterating it, we keep improving it, we take your feedback and we change it, or we take your feedback and we say that's got to get kicked out. But as it stands now, if I gave you these things today, would it make a difference in your systems?
Right.
Would it benefit you? And if the answer is yes, then we want to get it in your hands as soon as we can, knowing that we can always change it and improve it down the road. Or does it hinder you if I keep these from you longer? Right? That's kind of is the point of this.
So to really put it out there, we're planning on launching all of this unless we get like, whoa, we missed the mark. If we're on track.
I get so nervous when he does this.
If we're on track, because here it is, it's on the beta server. Yep. If this is the right track, then the plan is to launch this late June. Because we want to get the user guides ready, we want to get the help section up, we want the CS team to be ready to rock and roll.
Right.
I'm sure there's a few little things that we have left that development's going to be cranking out next week. So the goal is late June if we're on the mark.
Right, which is perfect for back to school seasons. So I would say, as homework to you guys, unless we get some catastrophic feedback that says do not plan on doing this anytime soon, start doing your homework, and that is building your templates for the drip campaigns so that as soon as you have them, you can start using them. Look at your business rules for the enrollment team. Start making sure that the enrollment team knows what their process is. Inspect the follow-up. Run your trend tracking. Run your period comparisons for that. Decide how you're going to use the enrollment team functionality before you just hit deploy on that. And most of you already do. And then the two-way text and email. This is a good time to talk to your staff about what the protocol on response back and forth is and put some of those templates in there that you want them to use. Because now, unlike them managing it within their Outlook and Gmail, you will have access to it. You will be able to see it. So you might want to work through some of those protocols. So do your homework and then plan for that July 1st, having it in your hand so that as soon as you get it, you can start utilizing it.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to spend, let me see, I'll pull up my calendar here. So our goal is really through the first week of June is to be wrapping up, putting the bow on it. And then we're going to be working on kind of documentation, our help section like the Educate. If you don't know about educate.childcarecrm.com, it's where all of our new release notes are. It's where the user guides are. We have this new studio. We're going to be doing a lot more video work, a lot more hands-on trainings. Our goal is that last 2 weeks of June to get all of that stuff stacked out. So when we hit the go button, we're good. We're good. So, we need the feedback now. If you want to be on the beta, let us know. CS, please don't kill me. I'd say go ahead and just submit a support ticket, and we'll filter those out. Yep, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, CS. Submit a support ticket. We'll get those filtered through as fast as we can. But we want to get this out there. I mean, as you saw, it's ready to go.
I gotta ask, as a non-user, are you a little jealous? Because I am a little bit jealous. My system doesn't have some features like this. I'm kind of a little jealous that people get two-way text and email because I don't have that. So, are you jealous?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's not easy systems like this that have features built into them, and I'm pretty jealous right now.
I don't feel comfortable publicly saying the systems that we use and how I wish they had the features we'd have deployed. Unfortunately, a ChildCareCRM does not fit for a childcare software company.
It's so sad.
But this is cool stuff.
All right, so thanks for hanging in there with us. It's been a little bit over an hour. We are going to shut this down and dive through your comments and schedule some one-on-one follow-ups with you, or kind of if there's one thread or one common question, I think Ryan and I will find a good way to send a message out to everybody and kind of give you guys some answers. Your next steps, again, get your database ready. Raise your hand if you're interested in being part of this kind of testing group, or you want to be involved a little bit more. Raise your hand if you want to be included on the next webinar like this. So those are your next steps, and fill out that Survey Monkey, www.com surveymonkey/r/CRM sneak peek. Ryan's got it in the comments. Based on your feedback, we'll schedule some one-on-ones, or we'll send kind of a mass email out. Anyhow, I am so glad to be back. This was awesome. I had a good time with you, and I can't wait to do more webinars in the future.
There are a lot more coming. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Guys, see you soon.
See you next time.
Bye.